SpaceX Starlink is not slowing down. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning, and that is it. Clean, refreshing. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a tech day. We're going to be talking about what is going on over there with SpaceX Starlink, and they're continuously putting up new satellites. I would think that to the chagrin of Elon Musk's competitors, SpaceX Starlink is not slowing down even in the least. Even though they have a strong hold on the satellite broadband internet sector, it just simply doesn't matter. They just continue pushing forward. So, what is going on with Project Kuiper and Jeff Bezos and all of the rest of the competitors? And that's what I want to get into a little bit today. I was reading a couple of articles. I wanted to give you some information, some fun facts, basically just a fun video today, just to give you some information of what is going on and where things are going. If you are a Starlink customer, should you continue being one? If you are a new customer coming in, should you bother? The question is Starlink going forward, or are they going backwards? Are they expanding? Are they contracting? Is the service getting better, or is it getting worse? And that's kind of what we want to get into today. Now, companies like Arianespace, ULA, which is United Launch Alliance, as well as Blue Origin, well, they've been competing or trying to compete with Elon Musk SpaceX for quite some time now, and they just simply can't. They just keep falling further and further and further behind. And the reason being is that SpaceX is at this breakneck speed of launching satellites, and they are not able to compete. Now, I was reading an article over on, I believe it was Space News or something, and they were saying how SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets launched from Cape Canaveral. That's right down the street from me. Cape Canaveral yesterday, carrying 22 more second-generation SpaceX Starlink satellites into orbit, breaking a launch pad turnaround record. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about here, guys. This is the kind of stuff. But before we get into all of this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, why the hell not? Go pick them up. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, throw it a thumbs up. That'll be very helpful so that I know that you like it. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if you are, click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And if you want more Starlink content like this, I put together a Starlink playlist. They call it a podcast, I guess. I'll put a link for that over here. When you're done watching this video, go check it out. There's about 170 videos that I've created in the past just on Starlink alone, and there's like 1,000 videos on this channel altogether. So there's a lot of content to check out. Also, if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work, I'll put a little thank you button right down there. Go hit that. Give $1 if you want. If you don't, that's fine too. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. Anyways, let's get back into this article. It says Booster 1078 making its fourth flight lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40. It was 3 days since the launch of the Intelsat's Galaxy 37 mission from Pad 40. The previous record was a 4-day turnaround, and that happened less than 2 weeks ago, once again, by SpaceX Starlink mission 6-6 and 6-7. So they just broke their own record. So within 72 hours, there's another launch at the exact same launch pad. That is just amazing. Once again, the turnaround. After lifting off from Space Launch Complex 40, the Falcon 9 headed southeast, targeting an orbit inclined at 43 degrees to the equator. After separating from the second stage about 2.5 minutes into the flight, Booster 1078 arced downrange for a landing on the drone ship, a short fall of Gravitas, which will be stationed in the Atlantic east of the Bahamas. Booster 1078 previously flown Crew 6, SES-03B mPOWER, and the Starlink 4-4 missions. Its last launch was 37 days ago. 37 days ago, just over a month, and this booster rocket was just launching another 3 different missions. Once again, the speed in which they can get these satellites in orbit is second to none. There is no company that can even hold a candle to what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX Starlink and their turnaround. They just simply can't. It finalizes by saying, now only a day after launching these 22 version 2 mini Starlink satellites into orbit from Florida, tonight SpaceX will launch another 15 version 2 mini Starlink satellites from the California Vandenberg Space Force Base. So they launched 22 version 2 mini satellites yesterday from Cape Canaveral, right up the road from me. And now today they're going to launch another 15 version 2 minis from California. Once again, the speed in which that they're just turning these things around. Now, I want to get into Jeff Bezos' Amazon's Project Kuiper. And as a competitor to SpaceX Starlink, when will this actually happen? I want to get into that because I think it is very important to show the disparity, I guess I can say, between the two, SpaceX Starlink and Project Kuiper. But before I do that, I want to give you some fun facts. I love fun facts. So number one, after launch, it takes only 1 hour before all Starlink satellites are released into orbit. There have been a total of 10 launches of version 2 mini satellites, which are larger and 4 times the bandwidth as previous models, version 1.0 and version 1.5. The full-size version 2 Starlink satellites are due to be launched by SpaceX's fully reusable Starship vehicle before the end of this year. Due to Starship delays, SpaceX Starlink produced a condensed version of the full-size version 2 satellites that would fit in the Falcon 9 fairing. SpaceX now has launched 4,903 Starlink satellites in low Earth orbit, of which approximately 4,562 Starlink satellites are currently in operation. As of May 2023, SpaceX Starlink had more than 1.5 million subscribers and is available to more than 60 countries. I hope you guys love fun facts because I know I do. Now, let's get into Jeff Bezos and Project Kuiper and the antithesis, once again, of SpaceX Starlink. This is basically what it is. I would call this a pipe dream. I just simply do not see this happening in the near future. I was reading an article and it kind of validates my thought process here. So the question is, what is Jeff Bezos doing to make Project Kuiper a reality and not just simply a pipe dream? Well, number one, Jeff Bezos this year decided to announce and to display a terminal, a satellite terminal, like our Dishy, or as I call him, Mr. Bevel. And it was about this big, so it was smaller than SpaceX Starlink's dish. And they announced this as being something that is going to go live, their internet-based satellite service, before the end of 2024. And while showing this prototype, I'm thinking to myself, where are you going to connect this prototype, Mr. Bezos? They don't have any satellites in orbit. Not one. Anyways, what else is he doing? Well, he commissioned or he secured contracts for 92 launches of satellites, 92 rocket launches. That's from ULA, which is United Launch Alliance, as well as Ariane Space, and his space company, let's call it Blue Origin. Once again, none of these three have been able to get a single satellite into orbit as of today, as of recording this video. Also, Jeff Bezos decided to say, you know what? I'm going to become a neighbor to Elon Musk. Maybe that's going to help me. So he took a trip down here to South Florida. He went to SpaceX, Kennedy Space Center, and said, you know what? This looks like a good area for a 31,000 square meter complex, a facility for building my satellites. So I can look out the window and actually see SpaceX right at the edge of the horizon, actually launching satellites. But that's okay. I'll be building mine here. The problem is I won't be able to get them into orbit because I have nothing to get them up there with. So Like I reported a couple of weeks ago, Bezos is so far behind the 8 ball that the 2 prototype satellites that they've been trying to get into orbit since last year are still not there. Well, I was reading an article about what he is doing about it, and the article reads like this. It says, Amazon plans to deploy its first pair of Project Kuiper prototypes this fall on an Atlas V from United Launch Alliance, or ULA, after switching rockets for a second time to avoid mounting delays. They keep switching from rocket to rocket to rocket. Why? Because of delays. There are problems. It's not easy to launch satellites into low Earth orbit. Ask Blue Origin, ask ULA, ask Arianespace. They can't do it. They're working on it, but they can't do it. The article continues. The test satellites were slated to fly on the debut launch of ULA's Falcon Centaur, which was recently pushed to fourth quarter following its latest delay. Amazon had initially planned to deploy KuiperSat-1 and KuiperSat-2 by late last year with ABL Space Systems before the rocket developer's RS-1 vehicle also suffered what? A setback. Setback, delay, setback, another setback, blow-ups, this kind of thing. And this is what happens when you're launching rockets. Once again, none of them have been able to do it. And what they're doing is they are now changing from rocket to rocket to rocket. They were going to use an Atlas V rocket, and then they switched to a Vulcan rocket, and then they switched back to an Atlas V. They're just, anyone get us into space. Pretty soon they're going to make the phone call to Elon. Can we do some type of ride share here? Can you Uber our ass into space because we are not able to get there? They do not even have 2 prototype satellites in orbit. And yet Bezos says we're going to go live before the end of 2024. And here's our little uplink dish. This is what it's going to look like. It's smaller than SpaceX's Starlink, whatever. Once again, they don't even have a satellite in orbit. The article finalizes with, the company plans to start launching commercial satellites next year amid impending regulatory deadlines for its proposed 3,236 low Earth orbit broadband satellites. Now remember, half of these satellites for this mega constellation, mega being 3,000, where SpaceX Starlink already has 4,000 plus, but their mega constellation of 3,236 satellites, half of which, according to the FCC, must be in orbit, must be deployed in low Earth orbit by July 2026, or their license is pulled. And 3 years later, which will be July of 2029, all 3,236 satellites must be in orbit. Once again, if not, they're pulling the license from Project Kuiper. So it is imperative that Jeff does something to get at least the prototype into orbit. Once again, like I said, I really do think that Jeff Bezos should pick up the phone and call Elon and say, listen, can we get a ride? Even if the ride is just for the 2 prototypes. So at least they can start working on something here on Earth. Right? I mean, I don't know. They're building this 31,000 square meter facility right next door to Elon Musk's SpaceX sitting here at the Cape. They're obviously going to be doing something with it. They're not going to make it an Amazon distribution center, or will they? I guess it depends on if they can get satellites into orbit or not. I don't know. I think it's just sad that they just changed from an Atlas V to a Vulcan rocket, back to an Atlas V. What's next? I don't know. It's just none of them are going to be able to get into outer space this year. This is what I said a few weeks ago. And this article kind of, I guess, solidifies or validates my thought process here. I just don't think it's going to happen unless they reach out to Elon. And I don't know what's going to happen with that, because you know how billionaires are. Some of them don't like each other. Others really don't like each other to a point of maybe getting into a cage match with them to beat each other's ass. Man, when you have a lot of money, guys, right? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed putting it together. If you have, throw this video a thumbs up. That would be awesome. Share it with your community, your friends, colleagues. Share it on Reddit, on Facebook, wherever you traverse the intrawebs. I would really appreciate that. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.